Hello, so this is my next From Take to track, featuring my song Throw Away the Key that I produced, wrote, mixed, mastered, and it features the talented Jen Ella, who will be showing you video footage of her singing in the track throughout the video. So let's get to it. So, a bit about the song's influence. It's very influenced by Dua Lipa's New Rules, I Don't Give a F, and Katy Perry's Never Really Over. In particular, the way it was kind of quite synthy, but quite plucked at the start. You can definitely hear that influence at the start of this song. It's very much about a girl who's kind of giving the middle finger now to her man, or ex-man, who is just in it for the Insta kind of life, the look, but not really the substance behind the relationship. So it's a big kind of see you later song, essentially. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a bit about what I used on the track from a writing perspective. I'm going to take you through that now. Okay, first of all, drums wise, I had a lot of electronic drums on the track. A lot of these were samples, if not all were samples. The kick, the snare actually built from different sample sets and kind of merged them all together to make its own unique snare sound. I played those in using my MIDI keyboard. First instrument wise that's worth discussing is my plucks and my stabs. I built them in using synths, but I programmed them in first on the MIDI keyboard. I then added stuff like stereo delay, just to flavour it, reverb, etc. And I deliberately kept it quite dark in my EQ because I wanted the distinction between my stab synths and my really kind of fuzzy synths that come in and smack you in the face later on in the track. I really wanted that to be like quite a clear distinction there. In terms of the synths I used a Waves Codex wavetable synth. I really like that synth. It's quite powerful for what it does, and it's really quick and easy to navigate around and change the sound into what you want it to be. I used Logic's own ES2 synth. Again, powerful synth, very, very simple. And I used the new Slate's digital Ana 2, which is a bit more powerful, a lot more flexible. You can get a lot of different samples in there, a lot of oscillators. It's one that I'm playing around with a lot more nowadays because of that flexibility, but it's a bit more complex I found to learn. So yeah, those are kind of my main synths that I used for this process. In terms of the core lead part, I used a couple of synths there, which you can hear in the background, but the main lead part I used was vocal chops, which is just Jen's vocal chopped to bits, and then I extracted the bits that I liked, usually quite like long vowel sounds. I then flip around with the pitch, add a load of delay, reverb, some drastic EQ on there, just to make it completely different, and play around with it. And this is the first time I've ever done something like that on a track that I've wrote. I love vocal chops now, big fan, and it's very, very in at the moment in the pop commercial market. And that's the main kind of messed around kind of melody that you hear at the end when the big fuzz synths come. It's the one down the centre that's really kind of flowing in your face. Yeah. So now for the main bit, which is the vocal by Jen. So the first thing I did was on the channel strip, just add Logic's channel EQ, just to remove some low end rumble, particularly sub-frequencies up to about 100Hz region, and potentially some of the really, really highs, but I tend to leave that in there because I like quite a lot of air in my vocals. Next I added Logic's own pitch correction plugin, which just blended her vocal ever so slightly into the pop sound of the track, just by adding a little bit of auto-tune on the key of the track. Then the next thing I look at was to tame her S's and her th sounds, and I did that using the Aosis, I think that's how you pronounce it, Slate plugin. Really, really good de-esser. Just really kind of tamed her S's, but not too much that it sounded unnatural, just enough so that it wasn't overall piercing, because I quite like to get her close in the mic to get a lot of her timbre of her vocal, but that can then cause you a lot of plosives and a lot of sibilance issues in the mic. Next I used 2 compressors in series. The reason for that is one compressor that I used just was causing it to feel far too much compressed, I lost a bit of the dynamic range. I was getting the thick sound, but it was really squashing her vocal. So a good trick to use is the 2 in series, and the reason being that you do the exact same thing, but each compressor works that little bit less hard on the vocal, so you get the same overall control, the same thickness, and the same transient control, just without the level of compression. I then used wave stubbler just for some very simple stereo widening. Next is one of the most important effects on her vocal, which is the reverb. I took her vocal channel strip and sent it all the way to an auxiliary send just dedicated for that reverb. And the first line of the plugin was the H Reverb Waves plugin, and I just used that for early reflections alone, just to give it that initial room space that you can hear her vocal start to sit in. Next, what I did was I used Slate's Lustrous Plates. Really, really lovely plugin for vocals, I'm finding, and it's probably one of my favourite at the moment for vocals. Just gives it that really rich presence in the mix, and it gives that real pop sound to our vocal, and it's really, really effective there. Next, I used just Logic's channel EQ to roll off some extra excess mud and excess really high frequencies that come through, that are generated by the reverb plugins basically. So I just rolled them off. I used a compressor on that channel strip just to duck ever so slightly the reverb when she was singing. And I did that by sidechaining that compressor to the channel send, the original vocal channel send, just so that it ducked it by 1 to 2 or maybe 3 at a push dB, just to bring her vocal really forward when she's singing, so it's really present, but then to duck it away and you hear more reverb as she stops singing. Last part of the vocal process for Jen was during the chorus. I added some extra widening just to push her forward in the mix, because the mix gets a bit more busy in the chorus. So to give her that extra widening, an extra kind of presence, I also, for the chorus alone, vocal channels, sent it to further 2 auxiliary sends and panned one hard left, panned the other hard right. Within those, I then used some plugins, the first of which was a pitch shifter on each channel, and say the left one I reduced the pitch by 5 cents, I changed the pitch of the right by plus 5 cents, so you've got that slight difference in pitch there, but it's so unnoticeable. It just adds that extra ambience to our vocal and extra stereo widening. I also added some then sample delays just after that, so on the left I added a 9 millisecond sample delay, and on the right I added a 11 millisecond sample delay, again just to add that extra stereo widening to make our vocal even thicker during the choruses. So, you've listened to me for long enough, let's let you hear Jen's raw vocal track.
'Cause you could break my heart, or you could set me free. Maybe you'll blame it on my personality. I'm done with little boys with insecurities. It's time we close the door and throw away the key. Throw away the key.
So next will be Jen's raw vocal track, but not from the camera phone now, from the raw Blue Spark that we used during the recording.
'Cause you could break my heart, or you could set me free. Maybe you'll blame it on my personality. I'm done with little boys with insecurities. It's time we close the door and throw away the key. Throw away the key.
Now this is Jen, through the Blue Spark, but with all my vocal processing.
'Cause you could break my heart, or you could set me free. Maybe you'll blame it on my personality. I'm done with little boys with insecurities. It's time we close the door and throw away the key. Throw away the key.
And now finally, this is the finished track with Jen in amongst the full mix.
'Cause you could break my heart, or you could set me free. Maybe you'll blame it on my personality. I'm done with little boys with insecurities. It's time we close the door
So that was Throw Away the Key featuring Jen Ella. Hope you liked it. That was how I processed her vocals and a bit about the story of the track. I'm currently working on another track called Deeper, which is featuring another singer from Scotland. That's going to come out hopefully within the next month or two, and you're going to love that as well. So if you want more stuff like this, please follow me on this channel, on my Instagram, my Facebook, etc. And I'll keep you in touch with everything that I'm doing.